Toastmaster Tim later.
In case you don't recognize me, my name is Tim Later, and I'm a Winter Park postman. I am honored today to be able to evaluate Brandon on his icebreaker. He asked me to evaluate on certain things. And the number one advice I'm going to give, I'm going to start off with the bang, Brandon, is vocal variety. You had some. Speak up. Speak up. You wanted to be enthusiastic, you wanted to be playful, you wanted to be capable of humor, and I think you've accomplished that. I believe you could have been a little bit better with those three things by speaking up. I do admire the fact that you didn't get behind the lectern. This is the safety zone, back here. We got something between us and you. You guys are scary, especially today. But the fact that you went right out there, and I guess you sort of forgot your phone, or maybe you did it on purpose, but that was beautiful. And normally you wouldn't, at the end, you wouldn't say, I didn't even use my notes. It was a perfect thing, it was your icebreaker. So kudos to you on that. But also, I think it added to your story. We can tell you're a little bit nervous. I'm assuming you're a little nervous. You look a little nervous. But you did a fantastic job. It flowed. It flowed really, really well. I don't know if you actually, or anybody for that matter, actually gave the title of your speech, unless that was your title. Yeah. The shortest title, the longest title. So I was waiting for the title and I didn't hear it. You start off your speech with, I've got 3 points. Well, I don't know if anybody taught you that, but if they did or didn't, it doesn't matter. That's a beautiful thing to put in your speech. I've got 3 points. And then you did your 3 points. Sometimes people forget their points. I've got 3 points, and you start off with 1 and we get the other 2. You didn't. You said past, present, future, and you told your story. You talked about Orlando, you talked about going to Germany, you talked about Florida colleges. Again, you had good body language, you had good hand movement, hand gestures, eye contact. I wouldn't say one part of an improvement is trying to look at more audience members and maybe walk around just a little bit more than you did. You pretty much stood there, you're fine. And with that, I turn back. Thank you.
Our next evaluator is this gentleman.
John Henry Bond, Moby Dick.
It's a great song, but I only have 2 minutes. The song, Let's Get Do. It's an honor evaluating you, Lazar. You had a great introduction, humor. I give him an A+. Voice projection, I don't think there's anybody better at voice projection in this club than Lazar. A+. Couple of suggestions. You know I'm gonna go here. A tie. You need a cherry on top of that sundae. Pathways. You didn't mention pathways. Earlier when you came to talk to me, I asked you in the pathway speech. A lot of members are giving speeches out of pathways. Pathways is the structure. We're here to learn. Pathways is the educational part of Toastmasters. So I encourage you to get into the pathways as well as everybody else. One of the things I enjoyed about your speech was how you were out here being bold. One of the things I enjoyed the least was the fact that you moved around so much and your back was towards me for a decent part of the speech. And you had folks back here, so that could be a little distracting. I like to suggest to speakers to make movements deliberate. So if you're going to move about the room, I must comment on speaker number 1, Brandon had deliberate movement in his speech, so that's a good example of that. Move with intention. The serious part of your speech, Anna, your friend, that was powerful. I
think it was more powerful for this side of the room. And you paused, and you gave us that emotion. And I think that folks on that side of the room may have missed out on that, so share that with everybody next time, if you could. You told me your goal was to elicit emotion. Was he successful?
Yes.
Don't do funny and scary together. Some may like it, some may not. One might say the same about your speech, but I don't think so. Everybody loved it. Well done.
Next up is ATM tie pattern. Evaluating JQ.
How many remember his name? JQ. Even I can remember that. I'm 73. I take Prevagen. I can remember. When we talked, he told me that he wanted me to watch for his hand gestures. Because when he speaks, he's oftentimes very stiff. I thought for an icebreaker, he did a fine job. Now, I would encourage him to maybe shy away from taking some Toastmasters recommendations not to prepare. We always want to prepare. I've been preparing for this evaluation for 2 weeks. We did learn a little bit about you, some of your passions, the things as you got older that you wanted to be, doctors, first responders. You're now into martial arts. Very good. Martial arts, if you take it to heart, will teach you about discipline. And discipline helps us in so many areas of our life. And if we can be disciplined in what we do, we will be more successful than we could ever think about. I would encourage you to get a mentor. Find someone with whom you can rely upon to give you advice that you will take. And that way, you will learn not to use some language. Whenever we're speaking professional, it is not a good idea to use curse words. And so consequently, you could say, okay, but the other one, just a little off shade. We want to always project the most professional, proper speech that we can. Your attire was good. You did not seem to be stiff, in my opinion, for an icebreaker. We thank you very much for coming up and sharing with us. And we look forward to seeing you in contest if you get much better.
Next up is Toastmaster Kim Blainer, the doc on the holiday, evaluating Toastmaster Horace Wallace.
Toastmasters and guests, and of course Daniel Day Wallace. Earlier this morning, Daniel and I talked about what he was going to do for his speech, and he said he wanted it to be funny. He started out with some lame jokes. But you got started with some funny ones when you said, I'm one of the oldest ones there at the comedy store. In fact, I am the oldest one there. And that was your first good one because it was self-deprecating. You also told us if you say something 10,000 times, you start to believe it. And then you talk about, I love bagel pieces and ketchup. Which reminds me of another Chinese joke, if you want to hear a Chinese restaurant joke. You can say that the last time you went there, you opened up your fortune cookie, and it said that wasn't chicken. You said that you said you're the king of dad jokes, and you find them with David Ben. And if the panda is a panda. Some of these jokes are a little bit groaner. Just a little. You've fallen and you can't get up. Carmelo gave Lazar an A+ for his humor in the speech. How many of us would give Daniel Day-Lewis an A+ for the human speech? So Dan, you have a following. So, you did a nice job with the groaners, and you did a nice job with the really funny stuff. 10,000 times you gotta say that, though. You're halfway there.